this is Matt from Church Realty, and I'm here today with Chris Lindberg from Life Fellowship Church in McKinney, Texas. And we've got a great story to tell you today about how their property has grown and how they've used the resources for God's kingdom. So, Chris, say hello.
Well, hey, everybody. It's an honor to be here. Love how God is using Church Realty. And again, I'm looking forward to our conversation today, Matt.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I've been looking forward to it too. So let's start all the way back at the beginning. You came to Life Fellowship back in 2011, 2012. Is that right?
Yeah, we got here about 15 years ago, 2010. It was a really tough situation. It's a church revitalization story. Rick Warren says it's sometimes easier to give birth than to raise the dead. And I would just say that they're both tough. Whether you're church planting or you're revitalizing, they both have their challenges. But yeah, we went through a lot of challenges in the early days. We came in with about 80 people in the church, $1,212 in the bank, sewage coming up from the ground in the preschool wing of the facility that we had, air conditioners and heaters that wouldn't work. Within the first 6 months, I had what I call a Gideon revival. And what I mean by that is that everybody left. And so...
Yeah, like what is it, the scene by the river where Gideon, they call people forward and everybody steps back or something like that?
Everyone stepped back. So I walked into a service in January of 2011 with 7 people in total attendance. You know, all of our dreams to move forward and to see great things happen, it went the opposite way. And, you know, before we get into the revitalization and all that, I think God was bringing us to the end of ourselves so that nobody could get the glory out of it, so that God and God alone would be the one that would be the hero in the story that is Life Fellowship Church. And so, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Tough beginning.
Yeah. Kind of hit the bottom before things started turning around.
Yeah, you have no place to go but up after 7, you know? So.
That's right. All right. So that property was on Juniper Road. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So the Juniper Road property you listed in 2013. Tell us about that process. What was the motivation behind listing that for sale? How'd you get there?
Well, once you bottomed out at 7 people, again, there's nowhere to go but up. And slowly, you know, you put your shoulder to the plow, and we began to grow. We went from 1 service to 2 to 3 services. And people started showing up, and we outgrew our facility. And so one of the things that, you know, I just would encourage pastors is, like, I know that there are there's a purpose in all of our lives. And I just knew that I wasn't willing to invest my life into an old, broke down location that didn't match the dream that was on the inside of me. And I just wasn't willing to invest my life. And in that, because I'm a person, like so many pastors and leaders, like, you're committed. You want to see something thrive and grow, and people need to feel that commitment. And so we began to lead the church in this, and wholeheartedly, everybody was like, let's move forward. And it was at that point in 2013 that I reached out to Church Realty, and that's when we began our partnership, which was incredible.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So you guys, you grew exponentially in the span of 2 years, but you had a property that was still run down.
And I was,
right?
It just didn't match where we're going. And it was, right. And I was the kind of young leader that I was always, in like 3 months, I'd be like, hey, everybody, we grew by 500% this last quarter. Well, it's easy to grow 500% when you start with 7. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. So glad you connected with Church Realty. How did that relationship start out? What were the first conversations like about your property needs?
Well, I just asked, I said, it was pretty in depth. It's not just it wasn't just a process of, hey, let's just find a location for you. It was, let's find out what your needs are. What are your dreams? What are you praying for? I remember we were presented probably with like 50 different options. And it was a journey, not just to purchase a piece of property. And I had a list of what I wanted. I wanted something that was on the premier highway here in Dallas. I wanted it to be in a place that has a landmark, so it's easy to remember where that's at. It had to be in a family destination and in an area where there's a lot of the the marketplace leaders. And so I had some pretty specific targeted goals. And man, the service, the care, and the options that were presented to us were incredible. And it wasn't just a relationship of, hey, let's just help you find this location. It was helping us navigate every step of the way of selling the old campus, getting a lease back, and helping us to commandeer a new piece of property that would suit our needs.
Sounds like they were more of a ministry partner to help you kind of refine what the vision looking forward was. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would. In fact, they did such an amazing job that the Wall Street Journal did a whole article on it.
Wow, we got to find
heard
that.
about it. They said we have not heard of a church that had such great business acumen as what you guys did. I mean, you guys are. It seems like you guys are really adept, and some of that was on our board and how we were thinking, but a lot of that I credit to Church Realty.
Ah, that's fantastic. All right, so you found a property in 2014, is that right?
We did. Yeah,
yes.
It was perfect. It was an arduous task to sell an old campus and to lease it back, and then build a new building, and it'll eat your lunch. Like, there's a lot to it. You know, we have a great neighbor. Our neighbor here is called Right Now Media. They're like the Netflix of the church world. And so they actually moved kind of in. We both moved in probably about the same time. And so, yeah, we got in with our initial phase, and we immediately began to mushroom and grow. And what I found is that, you know, if there's anybody that they're listening and you're sometimes, you know, apprehensive of making the move, you know, I think that it's risky not to take risks. And, you know, I tell people that if you'll do the little things like they're big things, God will do the big things like they're little things. And God steps into the middle of it and he brings the dream to life. And so we stepped into our new facility and we already outgrew it in 2 years. And so then we made plans to expand the campus. And now we're making plans to expand it again. And we've launched other campuses, and it was the right move. Had we not moved from that location, it would have been a death trap for us.
So, okay, you've moved into the new space, but what happened to the old space? Were you able to sell? What did that look like?
Sure, yeah, we sold it to a daycare.
Okay.
And that's who we leased back from for about 9 months to a year.
Yeah. Tell me what you mean by leased back, though.
We continued to use the space every
right.
Sunday.
Okay. So you sold it before you were moving out, and you were able
Yes.
to stay there. Okay. How did that feel? Was your congregation ready to move, or were they apprehensive, nervous?
No, I mean, there were some people, you know, you have some people that sit
Yeah.
down. I had some guys that sat in my office and said, Chris, you're making the wrong decision.
Oh.
This is horrible. It's going to end the church. And they came back to me 3-4 years later and sat down and apologized and said, you know what, we were wrong. We actually see that God was in this. And so, you know, the enemy is able to take, you know, 1 or 2 voices and make it seem like 1,000. And I'm thankful that I had good people around me. And again, the service that I got from Church Realty was second to none. We walked through everything together. I mean, every single negotiation, it really felt like it was a white glove experience for me.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. So how's your church, your governance structure? Are you an elder structure? Are you a board structure? What does that look like?
We're pastor-led, board-governed, staff and volunteer run, accountable to the congregation.
Tell me a little bit about how Church Realty worked with each of those levels of kind of both decision-making, but also buy-in and explanation.
There was an offering to help, I think, on every one of those levels. But it basically was with me and with our board, because of how our board, our governance of our church is set up. They'd show up to the board meetings and help answer any and all the questions that we had.
So, like you said, you've expanded several times on the campus. You've got plans to grow even further? What is on the horizon for you guys now?
So we just passed the 10 million person mark of men and women in correctional facilities that are attending our services online.
Oh, wow.
We have about 150 now, 50,000 men and women that attend in over 6,000 correctional facilities online every Sunday in our services. And our next big piece that we're going to bite off is we're going to expand our auditorium, because we're in 4 services every weekend and we're at maximum capacity right now. And so that's the next big thing that we're going to bite off. In addition to we're building a facility for another campus in another part of Dallas here right now. So that's underway, and a lot of construction.
So let's just paint the full picture. Way back 15 years ago, you got all the way down to 7. What are your numbers like now?
On a weekend, we'll have around 2,300 people in services right now. And then obviously there's numbers of folks that are online, and then the correctional facility, and that's why we're expanding our campus, because we feel like within the next 2 to 3 years we'll double that weekend attendance, because we'll have more space, a lot more space. The thing about our we call it the original campus, or some guys call it the broadcast. The size of your original campus will determine the amount of additional extension campuses that you can support. And so as we expand this and give more space, it's we're in the process of deepening all of our staff to be able to take on additional campuses. And so we're looking 2-3 years down the road. Our goal, our vision that we've had since we had 7 people is that we'd be one church in 10 locations. And I'm not opposed to one of them being international.
I know the building was run down. You were at max capacity, but from a ministry perspective, in addition to worship services and attendance on a Sunday morning, what are you able to do now that you weren't able to do before?
Number one is that we've launched a preschool, which has been
fantastic.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So we can utilize our facility a whole lot differently. And that's one of the trends right now, where pastors are not just using their facility on the weekend, but they're utilizing it for event gatherings that people in the community can rent. We're not really doing that because we have so much happening throughout the week. It's used 24 hours a day, it seems like. But the preschool is one. Another thing that really helped us is that it changed the location of where we were at, and it gave us an opportunity to reach a better variety of individuals. So we're reaching all socioeconomic spectrums that you can possibly imagine. We have people that now are clerks at a Walmart, and then we also have people that own their companies and it's worth $1 billion, and we have now about 50 languages that are spoken in our church. It is just and our dream is that our church would look like what heaven's going to look like, or really what our community looks like, that it would be representative of it. So it's really broadened our horizons, gave us more credibility, because like it or not, people, they have a perception of kind of who you are and how you operate and whatever by your graphics, by your building, by your location, and it has given us a platform to be able to impact their life, and they've walked along with us on this journey. So
yeah,
that's been really incredible.
All right. What advice do you have for pastors weighing the decision? Do we reinvest in the campus that we've got? Do we make the repairs? Do we try to expand here, or do we look around? How would you advise pastors on starting to make those decisions?
It almost sounds like a Sunday school answer, but I would really seek God and make sure you've heard from him. So like for me, I can take you to the place where I was at when God spoke to me, and I heard just a few words. He said, "Move forward strongly." That's all I heard, 3 words, move forward. And I knew what it meant. It meant, let's go. And so what I mean by that is, like, listen to what God says to you about where you're supposed to be. I would weigh the decision on, is this a location? Is this a place that you want to invest the rest of your ministry and life in? And if it's a place you're going, this is strategically positioned and this can really facilitate the vision, then you may not want to consider relocating, I know some folks that are basically landlocked and they're in some a small little community that is just houses everywhere, and it's just nobody really drives by their campus, and and they have like maybe 3 acres, 4 acres, and like, man, should I just really build everything out? And yes, but that may limit the potential of what it could actually become. And so I would just say weigh your options, and you'll never know until you try. You got to step out to find out. So for me, I would say I've encouraged guys, hey, reach out to Church Realty, see what options are out there. You have to weigh the options and put them all on the table. It's like when Samuel went to find King David. He didn't find David at the beginning. He had to go through one person and another, all the brothers, until he finally said, "Do you have anybody else?" And at that point there, they said, well, there's David in the field. And maybe the same thing is with you. You know that there's something stirring. Put all the options on the table and go through them. And I think it'll take you on a journey of growth with your team and you internally as well. And so I think that's a really, really important thing.
Oh, I love that. All right. So you had about a year of the process, right? From the time you started looking, you realized you've outgrown the space until the time you've purchased and moved in. What are some things you learned in that process? What is some wisdom you can pass on?
Building is a lot of work, and it costs more than you think. Right now, we're recording this in January, but right now in Dallas, minimum for auditorium is $450 a square foot building. That's the minimum per square foot. And so it's going to cost a lot of money. And you have to be, that's why you really need to know from God that this is what you're supposed to, it's going to take grit. I would encourage guys, make sure you have a prayer team, a prayer shield around you, people that are building you up. Make sure, that you spend time, I think, honoring God with the Sabbath in the middle of the enormity of all of the work and you're going to have construction meetings day in and day out and dinners and fundraisers and casting vision. There's a lot to it. So you just got to be prepared for it. But on the other side of it, there are going to be so many miracles along the way. And I have to pinch myself sometimes. I look out and I see people worshiping and the place is packed. People I would have never met, lives that would have never been changed. Not only just in person, but in correctional facilities, had we not said yes to when God told us to relocate. So there are miracles that are hidden in your yes. And so you have to keep that in the front of your mind, that there's an end to this. God's going to bring you incredible financial miracles of influence. And you're going to look back and thank God that you stepped out and obeyed him.